This video is sponsored by Typher.
Pasta cooking instructions are always the same. Bring a bunch of water to a boil and then cook the pasta for somewhere between 6 and 12-ish minutes. It makes it super easy that there is only one way to cook pasta.
No, that's not true. They just don't want you to know it.
Wait. Arcadi, what are you talking about? What is it? Who's they?
Italians.
Questo è MinuteFood.
Okay, Giancarlo, put the baseball bat down. Before we get to the illegal hack, we need to talk about pasta, or rather, its starch. Raw starch is basically a string of glucose molecules, one after another, but a very complicated one at that. It forms double helixes, which branch, which spiral, which form crystal-like and not so crystal-like regions of this ultimately huge yet very compact structure we plebs call a starch granule. But before we can eat a starch granule, we need to soften it up with water. Hot water specifically. Starch granules are so tightly bound up that water can't normally squeeze inside them. But if the water is hot enough, if it has enough energy, the atoms in the starch granules will start to move around more and more, to the point where their rigid structures will become not so rigid anymore, making the whole granule swell and bend and buckle, opening itself up for water to sneak in and dissolve their crystal-like structures. Congratulations! You've just gelatinized starch, turning raw, hard pasta into something soft and chewy enough for our precious little jaws to enjoy.
Oh, Arcadi, hang on. Hey!
Where did you get this fresh pasta?
I don't know, but check this out. Fresh pasta. It's raw, but it's soft. The starch in here is also ungelatinized, right? So why isn't this pasta hard too?
Well, you see...
Were you oversimplifying the topic?
Of course I was oversimplifying the topic. There's always 1,000 different things going on at the same time. Nothing is simple. This is biochemistry, for God's sake.
Hey, are you okay? Do you think he's okay?
Non lo so.
Okay. Raw starch granules are hard, but they're also tiny things spread throughout the pasta itself. So their hardness is less of a hard-to-bite sort of situation and more of a coarse texture sort of deal. Take a bite of any raw pasta, dry or fresh, and you'll notice a certain grittiness to it. That's the ungelatinized starch granules doing their thing. So fresh pasta isn't soft because its starch is gelatinized, it's soft because it's full of water, about 3 times more water than dry pasta, which has been dehydrated to preserve its shape and prevent mold from growing on it. That's why it can survive for years in your pantry instead of just a few days in the fridge like fresh pasta does. All this water causes another big difference too. Fresh pasta cooks way faster than dry pasta. That's because it already contains a lot of the water needed to gelatinize its starch. Once you add some heat, the starch can pretty much start gelatinizing right away. But there's almost no water inside dry pasta. You need to wait until the water from the pot is able to make its way into the confines of the pasta before any gelatinization can begin. And this process takes its sweet time. That's why cooking dry pasta takes about twice as long as cooking fresh pasta.
Okay, so what you're saying is that when you cook dry pasta, 2 different processes are actually going on in the pot. Hydration and gelatinization?
Yes, and that's the rationale behind some hacks like cold water pasta, where you throw the pasta into cold water before it even boils. That way, as the water heats up, it starts hydrating the pasta, so by the time the water gets hot enough to gelatinize the starch, it already has some of the work done. This can cut cooking time in half.
Which is already impressive.
Yes, which is impressive, and will already make some Italians, like Giancarlo here, give you the side eye, but it's not the hack I'm going for. See, the fact that hydration and gelatinization are 2 separate processes immediately begs the question, what would happen if we actually separated the 2 processes?
Something tells me we're about to find out.
I wouldn't be making a video about this otherwise. Now, if you're Italian, you might want to click away at this point. If you decide to stay, well, scusatemi tantissimo for the pasta crimes I'm about to commit. I don't think Giancarlo over here is gonna bust my kneecaps with a baseball bat, but what can I say? I'm Valencian, I'm a paella purist, I respect the pasta purist. Game recognizes game. Okay, so I'm gonna soak this pasta for an hour or so before cooking. That's right, just straight up cold water, pasta, that's it. Fast forward and we end up with these penne, which are not only ghostly white but also strangely soft. They're still raw, of course. Eat one and you'll notice a gritty texture of ungelatinized starch. They actually kind of feel like a wet, fresh pasta, which makes sense because at this point we have fully hydrated pasta, and the only step missing is gelatinization. And the only thing we're missing for gelatinization is not water, it's heat. The water is already inside the pasta, so we don't need any additional water. We can cook straight in a skillet, which will make cooking even faster. How fast? Well, we're about to watch it happen in real time because all it takes is 1 minute.
Okay, Arcadi, I know I gave you free reign here, but sitting and watching pasta cook in real time for a whole minute in a video on the internet in the year of our Lord 2026 isn't necessarily what I'd call good content.
What do you mean? I'm flexing on this life hack, which is cool as hell, and you get to see how pasta changes color so subtly from this nuclear white to the more yellowish tinge we're so used to. Look at that! Also, this is a great opportunity to give credit to the blog Ideas in Food, who are the ones who, as far as I know, came up with this technique back in 2009. Let's give more credit to blogs. I love blogs, they're always so undervalued. I will say though, one big drawback of this technique, and which is the reason that the Italians will give you the side eye for this, is that texture can be all over the place. Unlike boiling pasta, which manufacturers have tested over and over and over in order to tell you exactly how long to keep the pasta in the water to get the perfect texture, this method is way more loosey-goosey. There's a bunch of guesswork, and you know what? The path of trial and error will be paved with soggy pasta. That said, one of the great things about using a skillet instead of heating up a whole pot of water is that heating water takes a long time, so we're skipping that. It's a win-win as long as you remember to stir constantly. And that's about it. Pasta al dente in 1 minute. Throw in some, I don't know, pre-made pesto or whatever, and you got yourself a pretty serviceable dish. Not perfect, but definitely serviceable.
Okay, but I mean, we just switched 8-ish minutes of cooking for essentially an hour of soaking and a minute of cooking, which doesn't feel like a particularly good time saver.
But here's the thing, it's not necessarily faster, but it is easier to leave pasta soaking while you cook up some sauce and then throw in the pasta in the last minute and let the heat and the sauce do the cooking for you. Just as J. Kenji Lopez Alt, the GOAT, suggests. You can even leave it soaked and ready in the fridge for later and cook up a whole dish in a jiffy. Again, not a massive time saver, but definitely a hassle saver. So yeah, there's not just one way to cook pasta. Every method has its drawbacks. Just choose whichever fits your needs. Just make sure you don't get lost in the sauce, okay?
I love how easy this was to make. But you know what I also love? Taifer. Because as you already know if you watch this channel regularly, Taifer products make cooking a total breeze. The newest one I've gotten is the Taifer Sink Oven, which not only looks amazing on my counter, it comes integrated with one of Taifer's awesome built-in wireless thermometers. Just put the probe in your food and choose the temperature you want it done at. The thermometer tracks the food's temperature in real time, and when whatever you're cooking reaches exactly the right temperature, the oven just turns off. And with dual heating elements and a super powerful fan, it'll get that food ready in record time. I roasted this whole 6+ pound chicken in the Taifer Sink Oven in just over an hour. Or you can air fry, toast, broil, even dehydrate in here. Right now, you can get the Taifer Sink Oven for as low as $249. And when you use discount code MinuteFoodPD, you can save an extra 10% off. Available at taifer.com. Links are in the description.
Also, thanks to all of our Patreons and channel members who support us and let us do these weird things in the name of science. You can become a supporter if you go to patreon.com/MinuteFood. You guys are the best. I love you so much. Mwah.